Good afternoon, y'all, on this wonderful Sunday, November 2nd. Hope y'all are enjoying the extra hour we got today, even though I never liked daylight savings time. It'll now get dark here around 6 o'clock p.m., which sucks, but anyway, I have a mixed bag of things that's happening this weekend. Some wild things, some violence, some absurdities, some straight-up clown world nonsense. And by the way, if I come across any articles during this video, they'll be linked in the description. And if you enjoyed this video, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you like the daily updates. And I'll keep bringing you the latest on the swamp, which I do Monday through Friday at 11 p.m., along with highlight clips throughout the day. So I'm just going to start here. Oh, yeah, by the way, my cat, Livy, she was diagnosed with a virus last week, and she had watery eyes, not doing very well, and stuffy nose and everything, but the vet gave her an injection, and she got some weight loss food because she weighs like 19 pounds, and she's finally feeling much better now, obviously. So she's laying all over my arm. That was her just like not even 5 minutes ago, like literally 5 minutes ago. Yeah, it seemed like 4 minutes. So anyway, yep, she's feeling better. Very happy to report on that, because all last week she was just sleeping in just odd places around the house. I think she was, I don't know how cats are with their environment. You know, like if they have a urinary tract infection, they won't use the litter box because they think that the litter box is making it hurt to go to the bathroom. So, you know, things like that. So when she was sick, I'm assuming that's probably why she was sleeping in just weird places. She was sleeping underneath the bed, which she's never done before. And she slept in one of the corners of the living room, which, again, she's never done before. So very weird. But now she's back to normal. She's back to normal, back to happy. She's on weight loss food, which she's eating, which I'm really happy with, because some years back I got her some weight loss food that she didn't even want to touch. But this stuff she's eating, so thank goodness. Hopefully she'll start shedding some weight. The vet said that the amount of food she's getting is just perfectly acceptable. Like, she gets a half a can of wet food in the evening, and she gets like a couple scoops of dry cat food during the day. And she's like, well, you know, just some cats, they put on the weight. Other cats, they don't. My other cat, I have a black cat named Lana. She only weighs like 7 pounds, and she eats just as much as my other cat does. I feed them equally. So anyway, yeah. But whatever. I'm not going to keep droning on about kitties. I'm just going to get straight to it. Breaking 911 aerial footage shows extensive damage along Jamaica's coast caused by Hurricane Melissa. Haven't seen this. I haven't seen any of these video clips. There are a lot of them in this video. I'm sure this video is going to go on at least an hour, if not an hour and a half. But that's okay, man. It's Sunday afternoon. I'm chilling. Weather's beautiful. I got all the windows open in the house. It's like 74 degrees outside right now. It couldn't be more perfect. So, wish the same for Jamaica. Obviously, they've got tons of damage. Hopefully, they'll get it cleaned up as soon as possible. I know the U.S. military, U.S. government sending aid, disaster relief, even sending in helicopters to do search and rescue. So, you know, we're on top of it. I'm sure other neighboring countries, I'm assuming Canada's probably assisting us. Wouldn't surprise me. But anyway, here, let's check out some of this aerial footage. Now, keep in mind, it was 185 mile an hour winds when the hurricane made landfall, which is 55 miles an hour faster than the previous strongest hurricane ever to hit Jamaica, which was in 1988. And I believe this hurricane marks one of the top 3 strongest winds of a hurricane ever to make landfall in recorded history. So it was bad, man. It was really, really bad. And it had a perfect eye when it made landfall on Jamaica's southern coastline, and the eye collapsed almost immediately because, you know, Jamaica, it's a mountainous country. So it ripped up that eye pretty quick. It still didn't dissipate the winds enough. It was still a Category 4 when it moved back offshore off of Jamaica's northern coastline. So hopefully they'll get back to normal as soon as possible, even though I'm sure it's going to be quite a while before things get back to normal. It's definitely going to be attributed to being the hurricane of the century in Jamaica. They're already calling it that, so at least let's hope so. You certainly wouldn't want another hurricane to hit Jamaica with winds at or stronger than that, for goodness sake. So this also comes from breaking number 1. A stabbing happened in the UK at Huntingdon train station in England, which left 10 injured, 9 critically. So this was 17 hours ago. Hopefully the 9 who are critically injured pull through overnight. You know, I would certainly pray that they are. So anyway, let's take a look at this breaking news.
I just want to come out of that for now, that we have had an update from British Trans...
Heard a very nice gentleman a
That's
little
not
bit
me.
earlier
That's the video.
who was explaining a few things.
I didn't skip anything.
I just want to come out of that for now, that we have had an update from British Transport Police in the past few minutes, updating us on what has happened. They have stressed there have been no fatalities in this incident.
By the way, the British authorities have come out and said that this was not an act of terrorism. Not an act of terrorism.
Cambridgeshire.
How do you like them apples?
Confirmed 10 people have been taken to hospital, with 9 believed to have suffered life-threatening injuries, the other one being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. So 10 people, it seems, caught up in this stabbing on the train, which we now know was a 6:25 service from Doncaster to
fucking
London.
Savages. Absolutely ridiculous. You know, when you ban guns or you don't allow the public to have guns, they just resort to knives, one way or another. Knives, moving vehicles, things like that, which is nothing new in the UK. They've dealt with knife violence probably as long as I've been alive, probably even longer than that. So this says British Transport Police say yesterday in Huntingdon train stabbing is not being treated as terrorism. 2 British-born men are in custody for attempted murder. Oh, because they were born in the UK. I guess, you know, it can't be terrorists. There's no way they could be terrorists if they're just British-born. Anyway, so 2 victims are critical and 4 have been discharged. So that's good. At least 4 have left the hospital.
My name is Superintendent John Lovelace, and I'm here to provide you with an update on the incident at Huntingdon Station that took place here last night. It's a shocking incident, and first and foremost, my thoughts are with the family and friends of those who've been affected and those who are injured. At approximately 7:42 p.m. yesterday evening, there were calls to the police service.
I believe it would have been Friday, right?
Stabbings, which took place on board a train service that departed Doncaster at 6:25 p.m. and was en route to London King's Cross Station. Officers immediately attended Huntingdon Station alongside paramedics, where armed police officers from Cambridgeshire Police boarded the train and arrested 2 people. Within 8 minutes of the 999 call being made, 2 men were brought into police custody, where they remain this morning. I can tell you that these are the first male, a 32-year-old male, a black British national, and a 35-year-old man, a British national of Caribbean descent. They were both arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. Both were born in the United Kingdom. As stated, they remain this morning...
What's their religious affiliation, sir? If you're going to make a statement on their race, what is their religious affiliation?
Police stations for questioning. 10 people were taken to hospital by ambulance, and another person self-presented later that evening. While 9 were initially believed to have life-threatening injuries, following assessment and treatment, 4, thankful to say, have been discharged. However, 2 patients remain in a life-threatening condition. British Transport Police declared a major incident yesterday, and counter-terrorism policing were initially supporting our investigation. However, at this stage,
counter-terrorism.
There is nothing to suggest that this is a terrorist incident.
Right.
This is a British Transport Police investigation, and we continue to work to establish at pace.
I mean, dude, then 2 different... This isn't a one single person just, you know, having a mental breakdown. These were 2 people that planned this attack. How is this not terrorism?
The full circumstances and the motivations that have led to this incident. At this early stage, it would not be appropriate to speculate on the cause of this incident.
Terrorism, maybe?
As you can see, the station this morning remains closed. However, we expect trains to be passing through the station this morning.
Damn.
Passengers will see a high visibility presence of police officers at stations and on trains throughout today, up and down the transport network. Our officers are there to reassure the public and to address any concerns they may.
I think that's crazy that in the United States we still don't have high-speed trains. We've never had high-speed trains, and we're a big-ass country. You'd think that we'd be the perfect country to have high-speed trains going from place to place, but nope. No, we don't have any. I mean, well, maybe we do, but I don't think we do. I'm talking like bullet trains, like 300 miles an hour. So anyway, yeah, that's a developing situation. So I'm just going to move on to the next thing. This came out actually a few days ago, but I figured it was not exactly related, but they're talking about knives and, you know, whatnot. But anyway, this says that Muslims with knives, clubs, and brass knuckles are looking for British patriots. Religious war in the UK seems inevitable. Oh, but this isn't terrorism, though. It totally isn't. They're all screaming, Allahu Akbar! Dude, I can't remember who it was. There was some asshole live streamer who lives in New York. I think he's pretty much been banned off everything by this point, but this dude used to go around to like outdoor eating sections of restaurants. You just go up to people sitting at their table and he would go, Allahu Akbar in 5, 4, 3. Like he acts like he's got his fingers on buttons and shit, like running up to people screaming that shit. It's fucked up, man. I think he got arrested for that a couple of times, actually. Like inciting violence and terroristic threats or something like that. He was the same dude that climbed up on the Brooklyn Bridge and he was live streaming the whole thing, and it was just big stupid nonsense. I think it was like a year ago. Anyway, so this comes also for Breaking 911. A UK court has acquitted 2 Just Stop Oil activists accused of defacing Stonehenge, with the judge citing their climate change motive and affirming that the people have the right to protest in a democracy, even if others disapprove. So you can deface, like, what if they start, what if they wrap some chains around a couple of these and just, use a vehicle, just start yanking these things down in the name of climate change? Would they be perfectly fine with that? Probably. Acquitted, by the way. Totally acquitted. They don't have to pay any restitution to the government for getting all that paint or whatever the hell that is off of Stonehenge. Probably not. They probably don't have to deal with any consequences whatsoever. All right, so this comes from Colin Rugg. Gavin Newsom says he hates politicians who lie to your face in the same interview that he told Kristen Welker that he didn't see an issue with Biden's mental acuity. Newsom, there is nothing I dislike more than the politician who sits there and lies to you. Ain't that a riot? Also, Newsom, I'm going to express my relationship to my truth with Biden. There was nothing to suggest that he had problems with his mental acuity as he lies to your fucking face.
Nothing.
I can't stand liars as I lie to you.
And the politician that sits there and lies to you. And we all
yeah, you can tell the politician lies when he bobs his head and he moves his hands wildly around the fucking
sit there rolling
camera.
Our eyes going, give me a break.
Which Gavin Newsom does all the time.
That he was capable of serving as president until January of 2029.
Yeah, I think my focus was frankly situational. It was making sure Donald Trump didn't get back into office, to experience everything that we're experiencing
the hands?
today. And there was no interaction I had that
means he's lying.
Otherwise.
What do you
He doesn't have a very good poker face.
Who feel misled by you and other top
misled in what
Democrats
respect? He decided to step
about the
down.
mental acuity of President Biden, that they wish you'd sounded the alarm
Hands
sooner
up, Gavin.
to give
Hands
way
up.
for
Don't lie.
an open
Look,
convention.
Hands up, don't lie.
I'm not going to substitute myself for someone else or for popular opinion.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to express my relationship to my truth with the former president of the United States.
Oh, notice that he said my truth. So because it's his truth, that means it's just simply the truth. It's because I believe it's the truth, that means it just must be the truth.
Including at the end of his term, quite
Spoken like a true
literally,
Democrat.
in December, which was a masterclass of foreign policy and domestic policy, which I will never forget as we walk through not just the election, but we're walking through the world.
Masterclass, opening the floodgates on the southern border. It's just a masterclass at domestic policy.
Or others have suggested in terms of my interaction. That's all I can be accountable for.
All right, so that happened. And so I'm just going to move straight to the Virginia election info that's coming out. So this came out about an hour ago. Attorney General Jay Jones, who, by the way, wants Republicans' children dead, he's at 49% +2 against Jason Miyares, who's currently at 47% with 4% unsure. So still isn't completely over. It's not looking very good, though. So unbelievable. This cannot be close. Jay Jones literally wants Republicans and their kids to be shot. Well, at least his political rival. I don't know if he said that he wants all Republican kids to be shot, but he certainly said that he wants his Republican opponent to be shot in front of his kids. I know he did say that. Governor Abigail Spanberger is at 55%, which is an 11-point lead over Winsome Sears at 44%. So that is not looking good at all. So what the hell, Virginia? Good grief. So this also comes from Eric Daugherty. Holy crap, Virginia gubernatorial candidate Winsome Sears nukes opponent Abigail Spanberger for campaigning with AG candidate Jay Jones, who wants Republicans killed. Unhappy Abigail about murder. How about you get a backbone and tell him he needed to get out of the race? And continues with another quote, so we'll just hear it from her.
When my opponent says that when it comes to her candidate for Attorney General saying that 2 bullets to the head for his political opponent and that the wife of his political opponent was breeding quote-unquote fascists and that they needed to die too, the 2 children, and all she says is, well, she is disgusted and then she is unhappy.
Yeah, but vote for him anyway.
Unhappy Abigail? Wait a minute. Unhappy Abigail about murder? How about you get a backbone and tell him he needed to get out of the race? How about you do that?
Or she could just employ some Democrat tactics and say, if you don't vote for me, then you're just a racist. Okay, so this must be fixed. Even CNN is admitting the 2020 census errors were almost always to the detriment of red states. Blue states like Rhode Island were overcounted. Red states like Alabama were undercounted. Our country's apportionment is rigged right now.
One of the big things is it helps decide congressional maps.
That was loud. Sorry about that.
Does this have everything to do with redistricting?
Well, it does. In fact, we know the 2020 census, the errors were almost always to the detriment of red states. Blue states like Rhode Island. Do we know that? We do know that. The Census Bureau's own audit of its work has proven that. Blue states like Rhode Island were overcounted. Rhode Island then didn't lose a seat. Red states like Alabama were undercounted. Listen, this is just a fact. It wasn't all red-blue, but it was disproportionately red-blue.
Yeah, it's a giant mess. It's a big, giant mess. It's absolutely ridiculous. So the Virginia Attorney General race has officially flipped away from Democrat Jay Jones, who wants conservatives and their children to be killed. Jason Miyares leads Jones by 3.4 points. So this was yesterday, so obviously this is old news at this point. Anyway, I'll just give this a play, though.
General election, Republican incumbent Jason Miyares holds.
Not sure if I'll play the whole thing because, again, it's old news.
1.2 million votes have already been cast in the election. Now the Republican AG Association is handing out get-out-of-jail-free monopoly cards to mock Jones for his reckless driving conviction. But he did spend hundreds of hours of court-ordered community service at his own political action committee. Meanwhile, Jones is lying to voters about being anti-crime.
I grew up in courtrooms because my mother was a violent crime prosecutor. She took on the worst of the worst, murders, rapes, and robberies. Cops and sheriffs were oftentimes my babysitters. As a member
why are
of
you
the General
advocating for the
Assembly,
death of your
we funded
political
law enforcement
candidate,
at record levels.
asshole?
She also cracked down on sex offenders and human trafficking to keep our community safe. Also protect our kids, to keep them safe with a dedicated child safety unit, to make sure that we crack down on the abusers and the predators and all of the folks who want to do our children harm.
Yeah, Jones has
That's pretty rich coming from him.
Soft on crime and sanctuary policies as violent crime rises in the state. Joining us now for tonight's big close-up is Jones' opponent, Virginia Attorney General Jason Miyares. Attorney General, thanks for joining us. We all have seen the text messages. We all understand the character indictment there. But if you take that out of it, because he's decided to stay in the race, so voters have made up their mind on that, or let's say they have, what are the differences in policies? What is it that you're doing or will continue to do that he would change or vice versa?
Well, I mean, listen, I appreciate the opportunity. I mean, listen, he's a criminal first, victim last social justice warrior. He's asking Virginians to hire him to be the top prosecutor. He's never prosecuted a case a day in his life. And to your point, his record in the General Assembly was every chance he had a chance to stand with law enforcement and victims, he chose not to. He voted actually for the early release of violent offenders. You've noted that the Ralph Northam early felon release program let out 9,600 felons out early.
Oh, good grief. Yeah, of course they did. Yep, they're just trying to turn everything upside down. They're just trying to burn it all to the ground, aren't they? So this one from former CIA Director John Brennan. He loses it and gets in the face of Special 4VA National Security Consultant Thomas A. Special, who asked about how he and 50 other intel officers claimed the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. He's crumbling. Total panic. Let's check this out.
Why would you know on the Hunter Biden laptop? Why? Because I think, and you misrepresented that. We never said it was disinformation. We said it was Russian influence operations, which is what they do. There's a big difference between influence operations. No, you don't know that.
Yes, Comey knew. Comey knew. The literature says hallmarks.
They believe their own lies, man. They believe their own bullshit. Yeah, I think he is crumbling. I mean, he's up on the list of those who are expected to be indicted, I believe. Pretty sure. All right, Laura Loomer exclusive. Ayub Nasser, a 20-year-old Dearborn, Michigan resident from the home that was raided by the FBI yesterday. So I talked about this on Friday's episode. Or it possibly might have actually been Thursday, but I think maybe it was on Thursday. I don't know. Anyway, so where 4 suspected individuals were detained as part of a foiled ISIS-inspired Islamic terror plot targeting Americans on Halloween weekend. Okay, so yeah, it probably was on Friday then. This individual who they raided, who tried to put together a terrorist operation and up in Dearborn, Michigan over the Halloween weekend. This dude is a Fortnite creator and a defendant in a recent Epic Games federal lawsuit. In the lawsuit, Nasser is accused of generating nearly 20,000 bot accounts to inflate custom map popularity and earnings in the Island Creator program. The lawsuit was filed on October 7th, 2025, 3 weeks ago. Local news in Dearborn has not disclosed the names of the suspects from the FBI raid, and neither has the FBI. However, an attorney present at the Horger Street home during the operation, identified as Hussein S. Bazi, told the Times-Union he represents individuals involved in the investigation. Further investigation into public records by Loomer Unleashed reveals that 20-year-old Ayub Nasser, a defendant in Epic Games' federal lawsuit filed on October 7th, resides at the same Dearborn, Michigan address that was raided by the FBI on Friday. Court records and public filings confirm that Hussein S. Bazi is the attorney representing defendant Ayub Nasser in Epic Games' federal lawsuit, and he was present during the FBI raid. Hussein S. Bazi is the attorney at the Hall Mockled law firm in Dearborn, Michigan. The firm's website states that Bazi specializes in criminal law, civil litigation, personal injury, business litigation, and civil rights. It's also worth noting that the law firm's TikTok account offers pro bono legal representation to all students protesting in support of Palestine and against Israel. This is a developing investigation with updates to follow as more information becomes available. And here's the receipts that Laura Loomer posted. So the complaint, this is with regard to Epic Games and Fortnite. So founded in 1991, Epic is a leader in the interactive entertainment and 3D engine technology fields. Let's see. Epic's most famous success is Fortnite, where over 500 million registered players interact across a wide variety of game modes and social entertainment experiences. Fortnite includes thousands of player-made games and experiences. Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I think everybody's familiar with Fortnite at this point. I've never played it, but I've seen gameplay of it. So this is Epic Games Inc. versus Nasser et al. And what's highlighted, item 11, Wednesday, October 22nd, notice of appearance by Hussein Shadi Bazi on behalf of Idris Nadi, as well as Ayub Nasser. And Ayub Nasser, he's the individual that resides at the exact same address where the FBI raided that address, foiling a terrorist plot that was to occur this weekend in Dearborn, Michigan. So Hussein Bazi, a lawyer who was at the Dearborn home, says he represents people in the investigation, but declined to comment further when contacted by phone. That's on the Times-Union. And let's see, what else did she have? Inside the FBI's raids in alleged Michigan terror plot, suspect's attorney disputes claims. Officials said no specific targets have been identified. Well, sounds like we got one, even though he hasn't been officially identified. He resides at the same address where they did that FBI raid for that terrorism plot. Anyway, father, not familiar with this. Yarm Coffee House, Michigan Domestic Limited Liability Company, filed July 25th of 23. The registered agent on file for this company is Ayub Asmail Nasser and is located in Dearborn, Michigan. Yeah, maybe. But I guess dude whose house was raided by the FBI, looks like his father owns a coffee company, I guess. All right, so moving on to the next thing. Infuriating, it's now been proven that illegals are instructed to vote for Democrats by nonprofit officials. New York City, you're not registered? Okay, vote for the guy with the M, as in Mamdani. It was always the plan, mass import their voter base and neglect Americans. It's a bit of a long one. It's from James O'Keefe from OMG. Not sure if I might get hit with any kind of copyright, so I'm most likely going to refrain from playing the entire thing. But I'll repost it if you want to take a look at it. I think I should be okay because, you know, old dude Eric Doherty, he reposted it, so I don't think there'd be a huge issue with it.
I'm an immigrant. They sent me here to vote. I was recommended to come here to find information to vote.
Oh, you registered?
Sorry?
When did you register to vote?
I didn't sign anything. They just told me to come here to vote.
Okay. Vote too. Okay, but you know, they got us a table.
This is Michael Casey, correspondent with O'Keefe Media Group, reporting from New York City just before Halloween. And the only thing scarier than all the ghosts and the goblins and this rain this Halloween is
it's a nasty rainy day
of illegal aliens voting in our elections for mayor. Just last year, James O'Keefe encountered a man in New York City who ran a church called La Jornada in Queens.
Hey, this is you.
Now, Mr. Rodriguez was allowing illegal aliens to sign
GTA 5
false
sound
documents to help them live in this country illegally and bypass the law.
What I found most odd is that Pedro Rodriguez would keep telling me that I did not reside at an address that he personally signed the letter saying that I resided at.
I encountered this man once again 1 year later. Same name, different address, same blue shirt, same tie. I encountered this man posing as an illegal alien, telling him I was new to this country, I just got here a couple months ago, I was not registered to vote, not a citizen, but I wanted to vote in this year's election. And what does he do? Like clockwork, he springs into action to help me.
Yes, I'm an immigrant. They sent me here to vote. I was recommended to come here to find information to vote. I was given those locations. I will show you.
Put on a decent accent.
No Espanol.
No, I think that's perfectly.
Thank you, sir. What's your name, sir?
Pedro Rodriguez.
Pedro.
No pleasure. Yeah.
Miguel.
Yeah. You registered?
Sorry?
When did you register to vote?
I did not. I didn't sign anything. They just told me to come here to vote.
Okay.
And he tells me to go to a local community college just around the corner to go vote in the election for mayor.
That's close, right?
Just across the street.
Illegal immigrants. Well, maybe not illegal immigrants,
so I
but
can go there and cast my vote for mayor.
Didn't he claim he came here legally two months ago?
As legal alien, who should I vote for? He gave me a wink and a nod.
Oh wait, hold on. Did he say illegal?
Vote in the election for mayor.
That's close, right?
Just across the street.
Across the street?
Yeah.
Thank you. And so I can go there and cast my vote for mayor.
And I told him, still posing as legal alien, who should I vote for? He gave me
you said legal, right?
He told me, vote for
regardless,
the man
it shouldn't be
whose
voting.
name begins with the letter M.
No. It's 3 guys. Okay, I really can't tell you vote to. Okay, but you know, they got us a table.
Now, which candidate and for mayor has the
I can't tell you who to vote for, but vote for the guy with the M.
Is it Curtis Sliwa? No. Is it Andrew Cuomo? No. Is it Zoran Mamdani? Most likely.
Maybe.
The same candidate who's running on a platform of aiding illegal aliens and giving them assistance to bypass ICE and avoid deportation. It's no coincidence that this so-called pastor, who just last year was caught by James O'Keefe, is now telling illegal aliens to not only vote in this election, but vote for the candidate for mayor who is trying to help illegal aliens. So we paid him a visit.
Uh-oh.
So, these two had questions as well.
Yeah. Remember me?
You are
bunch of
James
thieves
O'Keefe.
and criminals and liars. You are unbelievable.
Stamping fake addresses.
Wow.
These fake documents right here? Yeah, that's me. I'm James O'Keefe.
Okay, hello, sir.
You just told him to vote for Mamdani.
No.
You said vote for the guy with the M. That's what you said.
Okay, but you know, they got us.
Okay, all right. I'll just cut it there. Do you think he's going to get in any trouble for this? Highly doubt it. Probably not. He's just exposing what's really happening, James O'Keefe, and probably absolutely nothing's going to be done about it. I'm sure as I speak right now, he's probably telling somebody to vote for the guy with the M, just one person after the next. All right, I'll just move on to the U.S. Marines. They're carrying out training exercises in Puerto Rico amid rising tensions with Venezuela, which I just mentioned last week. I showed a video where they were doing close quarters combat drills in an urban setting. It appeared to be an indoor facility where the military, they're conducting training like in an urban setting, which is in Puerto Rico where they're doing the training. And the military hasn't come out, or the U.S. government hasn't come out and said that they're going to be conducting operations on the ground with regard to Venezuela or narco-terrorists, but certainly looks like they're getting prepared for it, though. Which, of course, you know, when's the military not training? They're always training. Always training. Always got to be ready for anything. And which country? I think it was in Panama. They're doing jungle survival training, which I believe that's nothing new. I think they do that every year. They work with the Panamanian forces, which teach the U.S. military who I don't know if they volunteer to do this survival training or if they have to go do it or whatever. But yeah, that's been happening over the last month or so down there. And anyway, moving to Libs of TikTok, Mamdani, he's now releasing campaign videos in Arabic, promising free transportation and to freeze the rent. So, yeah, if you're a landlord in New York City, I kind of feel bad for you, but, you know, like, weren't they doing this shit during COVID also? They were freezing rent, and people, they just got to basically just live rent-free for a year or more. Anyway, let's take a look.
وعم رشح حالي ليكون العمدة الجديد في مدينة نيويورك. بعرف شو عم تفكروا، شكلي كأني صهركم من الشام، بس العربي تبعي بده شوية شغل. مع هيك أنا حابب اليوم أطلب دعمكم يوم 4 نوفمبر. العيشة بنيويورك صارت غالية للكل. ازيك يا باشا؟ كل شيء تمام؟ وصار صعب نعيش فيها ونربي أولاد. أنا كعمدة رح جمد الإيجارات لأكثر من 2,000,000 شخص وخلي الباصات سريعة ومجانا.
Imagine taking this video back to the year 2002 and showing folks in New York City, look who's going to become your mayor in the year 2025. Their head would explode.
لأسهل عليكم بفتح مشاريعكم الصغيرة وتدفعوا إيجاركم وتبنوا مستقبلكم في مدينة نيويورك. التصويت المبكر مفتوح الآن حتى 2 نوفمبر ويوم الانتخابات يوم 4 نوفمبر.
Not only that, but all the shit that they put Rudy Giuliani through. He was America's mayor back then, you know? A lot of people still consider him America's mayor because he is America's mayor. All right, Eric Daugherty. Wow, an amazing development. Nicki Minaj will be meeting with President Trump's ambassador, Mike Waltz, in New York to discuss defending Christianity worldwide. I cannot believe this is amazing that Nicki Minaj, I don't know if she's really prepared to consider herself a Trump supporter, but she's definitely going to catch a lot of heat for this from her circles or her, I don't know, her like inner circle, I'm assuming. So anyway, Minaj has come out in support of Trump's actions against Nigeria. Quote, I'd be honored. Thank you, Ambassador. So that is happening. Nicki Minaj and the Ambassador and President Trump praying. So that's going to be happening. They didn't say exactly when, did they? No. Yeah, so probably happening this week because Trump, he wants this to happen quickly. And he informed the Nigerian president that he better get his shit together because we're watching you very closely now. And he said we could withhold funding to Nigeria, or we could, you know, even employ some sort of military action, because he told Pete Hegseth in the Department of War to get ready, be prepared, because we might be sending people out to Nigeria to defend the Christians. All right, so President Trump has ordered the Department of War to blow up another narco-terrorist boat in the Caribbean. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, these narco-terrorists are bringing drugs to our shores to poison Americans at home, and they will not succeed. The department will treat them exactly how we treated Al-Qaeda. We will continue to track them, map them, hunt them, and kill them. Take a look at another one that they blew up. Looks like another nighttime operation. Holy shit, man. I haven't seen that type of video footage before. The way it just, like, turned the entire screen white. Just came right in. Bam! Absolutely wild. Just knocking them out one by one, but they just keep sending more. Just kind of has me wondering, like, these people that are in these vessels, are they being forced to do it? Yeah, they probably are. They probably are being forced to do it by what's his name? Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. All right, so Tom Homan, he reveals President Trump is bringing on 10,000 new agents to round up and deport illegal aliens. They had well over 100,000 people apply to be ICE agents. I think the number was like 120 or 150,000 applications that they got to be agents, and they were only looking for 10,000. I mean, that was already known that they were looking for 10,000 to apply and become agents. So, yep, this is huge. We're going to blow this historic number of deportations out of the water next year. We're going to look for that 10.5 million illegal aliens that came across the border. We got to look. That's in addition to 15 million that are already here. The rest is just filled with quotes, which I'm sure he's going to say in the video. So let's give it a listen and a watch.
10.5 million illegal aliens that came across that border. We got to look. That's in addition to 15 million already here. So now the roles change. Now Border Patrol is backstopping ICE on the interior. It's working. Record numbers of removals, arrests. Right now we already have a record number, historic number of arrests and removals this fiscal year, and we'd bring on 10,000 more agents by mid-January. And we're going to blow this historic number out of the water next year. So everything's working good. It's still under the leadership of acting director Todd Lyons, under the leadership of Secretary Noem. The results speak for themselves. The agents out there doing what President Trump promised he'd do is make his country safe again.
I mean, look, if you do the math, if each of those 10,000 agents, if they round up one illegal per day on average, that's 365 per agent. So if you, like, well, let's see, one per day, 365 per agent. What is that, like 3.5? Yeah, 3.65 million illegal immigrants. If they just one agent per illegal per day, that's just the 10,000 new ones that they're adding to ICE. So it seems possible that they could round up most of them. Anyway, so Libs of TikTok breaking: DHS arrested a group of Polish illegals in Wilmette, Illinois. One of them had an Interpol red notice. Biden literally invited unvetted terrorists and criminals to invade us and live in our communities and freely roam our country. That's terrible.
You checking my license plate?
I was say, who the hell's filming?
Is there a reason you're checking my license plate?
Yeah, because you're on a public roadway. It's not a good enough reason, but it's illegal. I mean, they can check anybody's license plate they want.
What are you guys gonna do with us?
I mean, if you live in a city, your license plate is captured on, like, what is, like 20 cameras on average per day, something like that. All these traffic cameras all over the place. Yep, sanctuary state America. We got Polish nationals, or Polish illegals, living in Illinois. All right, moving on to Andy No. I've got a few from Andy No. An extremely violent Portland Trantifa militant who has taken significant steps to hide his identity has now been unmasked by me. Meet Alistair McFarlane Sindener. In June, he allegedly tried to burn down the ICE facility after destroying the CCTV cameras. And this is over on Andy No's website, nocomment.com. A violent Portland Trantifa militant who has taken significant steps to hide his identity has now been unmasked, and there he is. No comment can exclusively reveal the face of a Portland trans Antifa militant who took extensive steps to erase his online presence while being arrested multiple times for violent Antifa direct actions this year. Alistair McFarland Sidner, born in 2004, was arrested on October 22nd at his family's home on Southwest Cameron Road in Portland, according to an announcement from FBI Portland. Sidner, whose parents' home displays Black Lives Matter and other left-wing signs, was federally charged with felony destruction of government property for allegedly damaging surveillance cameras at the ICE facility in Portland during an Antifa riot on June 12th. And let's see. Portland man, Alistair Sidner, charged with damaging cameras affixed to the ICE building on June 12th. Since June, the U.S. Attorney's Office has charged 37 defendants with offenses committed near ICE facilities, including assaulting federal officers, failure to comply, and depredation of government property. That was October 22nd when that was posted. There's the Black Lives Matter sign. American flag. In our America, love wins. Can't really read it from there. Well, the second stripe says Black Lives Matter. Yeah, I can't really quite make out the rest of it. Disabilities are respected. Diversity is celebrated. You know, that whole song and dance. All right, so the June 12th attack occurred about 48 hours before the first No Kings protest and involved masked militants in Black Bloc besieging the federal building with projectiles and explosives. As during the 2020 BLM Antifa riot, far-left rioters are trained to destroy CCTV cameras to prevent evidence collection of their crimes. Yeah, of course. You know, that's what Antifa does. Sidner was released without bail, consistent with most Antifa suspects charged in federal court in Oregon. His release conditions prohibit him from approaching the ICE facility and from discussing case details with Morgan Lily Riken, a 25-year-old Trantifa co-conspirator, also charged at the state level in connection with the same attack. On October 28th, the U.S. Magistrate Judge Stacey Beckerman issued a protective order barring Sidner's attorney from sharing discovery with his client that includes personal information about law enforcement officers. This restriction suggests prosecutors and the court believed Sidner may be part of a larger organized extremist network capable of misusing sensitive material. Duh! It's called Antifa. It's not just an idea, it's Antifa. Repeat offender in Portland's Antifa riot scheme. Oh yeah, by the way, it's just court document, which, like I said at the beginning, I'll link this in the description. The October arrest is Sidner's third known riot-related arrest this year. On January 21st, he had participated in an Antifa direct action in downtown Portland, where rioters shut down traffic and vandalized businesses as retaliation for the inauguration of President Trump. Sidner was arrested for second-degree criminal mischief, interfering with an officer and resisting arrest. The event marked the third violent anti-Trump attack in a 24-hour span in Portland and included an attack on the Multnomah County Elections Office, which was defaced with anarchist and Antifa symbols. Multnomah. I don't know. I've never been to Oregon, so can you tell? All right, so looks like this must be the guy, I'm assuming. The Elections Office. Let's see if I full screen this. Yeah, there we go. Got nothing better to do. Oh yeah, there's no sound, by the way. Throwing stuff, throwing rocks. Incapable of getting a normal 9-to-5 job. Ooh, let's spray paint the anarchy symbol. There you go. That's Portland for you. All right, and then they just run off. Yeah, it looks like they just show it again, perhaps. There's not broken glass. Well, yeah, there is now, but all right. Oh, okay, so they must be showing different angles. Punks and thugs. Oh, but they're totally not a terrorist organization. No, they're totally not an international terrorist organization because Antifa totally didn't get started in Germany in the 1930s. Of course not. In August, he pleaded guilty to criminal mischief in exchange for the other charges being dismissed. Do you think that they were ordered to pay for the damage? Probably not. His sentence amounted to one single day in jail. He only got a day in jail for that. Already served during his initial arrest. So they already counted his initial arrest, the one day that he had to spend in jail following his arrest. They're like, okay, he got time served. He's good to go. Sittiner's booking photo shown above comes from that conviction. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office initially refused to release the image, falsely claiming it was exempt from disclosure until I showed them his conviction record. The episode underscores how Oregon's 2021 mugshot law, passed by Democrat legislators after far-left activists objected to my 2020 reporting, now allows law enforcement broad discretion to withhold public records. Ongoing state felony case. He also faces a pending state felony case stemming from the June 12th Antifa attack on the ICE facility. Prosecutors accused him of participating in an attempt to set fire to the building alongside other masked militants. And he's been charged with 2 counts of first-degree arson, which is a felony, 3 counts of second-degree criminal mischief, and 2 counts of reckless burning. Sittiner has pleaded not guilty to the charges, even though I'm sure they probably got him on camera. Among his co-defendants is Morgan Lely Riken, who is now federally barred from discussing his case with. This journalist doubts Sittiner will adhere to court rules. No, of course he's not going to. And Antifa presence wanes at ICE facility. Since the June assault, Antifa's organized presence at the ICE facility has notably declined, likely due to fears of the heightened surveillance and the promise by the Trump administration to treat Antifa as domestic terrorists. Those who continue to appear at the site now consist primarily of broad radical left-wing coalitions, including pro-Palestinian groups and Mexican nationalists. Look, I think they're still showing up. They're just not wearing all black. I think they're just probably just changing their appearance, still masking up, and they're just trying to blend into the crowd as best they can. But anyway, that'll be linked if you want to check that out, even though I already read it, but it'll be there if you want to check it out. Andy No, Portland. On October 31st, federal agents made arrests of riot suspects who gathered for violence while wearing the black bloc uniform that is popular with Antifa militants because they are Antifa.
3 people in one go.
Yep, now your stupid ass is getting dragged away to jail. Happy Halloween. Of course, this is right outside the ICE facility. I've seen quite a few live streams of all the shenanigans they're engaged with out from the ICE facility. Those apartment buildings definitely stand out. Yeah, so they're walking them right in. That's the ICE facility they're walking them into. That's the front gate. Of course, they got them up there on the roof. Wow, it's raining. The drizzle. Stupid ass brought pumpkins out there. Did you see that? Got some pumpkins down there. Is that a lit up jack-o'-lantern too? Okay, hippies. Yep, they just don't care what the weather is out there, how miserable it is. They just go out there and they just cause shit anyway. A woke Portland area BLM activist who served on the Clackamas County Commission was charged with multiple felonies for theft and fraud. Now it has emerged that Melissa Fireside fled to Europe ahead of the trial. She crossed into Mexico with her child, and this is on the post-millennial. Trying to escape prosecution, trying to get away, but I'm sure they'll have a way of getting her, I bet. So woke ex-Oregon County Commissioner flees country with son ahead of trial after bailing out on theft charges. So what, you expect to just, be gone forever? You're just never going to come back to the country ever again? Former Clackamas County Commissioner in Oregon. Here, let me see if I can make this a little larger. Actually, yeah, it does. It'll let me do that. This whole social media nonsense won't get in the way, so that's good. On the White House website, it always does, so I can't zoom in very much. So anyway, has reportedly fled the country ahead of her theft trial where she's been charged for allegedly stealing from a resident at an assisted living facility. Wow. According to court filings, she used false identification and an Austrian passport, taking her young son with her. On Friday, the Oregon Department of Justice said it had moved to reverse Fireside's conditional release after she was no longer at the home address she stated to the court, which had been in Lexington in Morrow County. Fireside is facing charges of aggravated first-degree theft, while using a computer to commit theft, first-degree theft, identity theft, as well as first-degree forgery. And from Indy Knows, X post, a woke Portland area BLM activist who served on the Clackamas County Commission until she resigned in disgrace earlier this year after being charged with multiple felonies for theft and fraud, has fled to Europe ahead of her trial. And here, let's open up a few images of her. Why not? Let's take a look. So here's one. And here's another one. And here's another one. And fled to Europe, trying to hide. Even though she can't hide forever. She ain't gonna hide forever. I'm sure they're gonna find her, one way or another. Okay, so our top concern right now is the safety and well-being of this child, Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield said. Quote, we are working closely with law enforcement partners here and at the federal level to locate Miss Fireside and ensure she is held accountable under Oregon law. No one should be able to evade justice by crossing a border. Yeah, I think she'll be gone like maybe a month or two, and she'll probably either run out of money or she'll just go stir crazy because she's not in Oregon anymore, and she's probably just going to end up coming back. Or they're just going to end up finding her. State investigators are actively working to determine Fireside's whereabouts. Once located, every effort will be made to bring her into custody. If Fireside is confirmed to be outside the United States, the extradition process may present additional challenges depending on the country involved. Oregon investigators are already coordinating with federal partners to assist in this effort, the press release from the attorney's office said. I don't know, maybe she's got Antifa connections and they've probably got her hiding in certain Antifa safe houses somewhere in Europe. Or maybe she started in Europe and now she's in some non-extradition country or something, but it's like, dude, that's a lot of shit you're putting yourself through. Even more importantly, her son. She's putting her son through all this shit just because of her bad behavior and her recklessness. Leave him with the father. I'm sure he would be a much better parent than she is. According to the Oregonian, officials discovered that Fireside had a reservation to fly from Mexico to Amsterdam at 2:30 p.m. on Thursday. Okay, so yeah, she's probably smoking shitloads of weed in front of her son, too. She has an Austrian passport that she used for the reservation that is valid until 2032. An affidavit said, signed by Special Agent with the DOJ, Jerry Gorman, officials believe she used false identification to flee the country. Fireside resigned earlier this year after she was indicted on the charges related to the theft. She was accused of stealing over $10,000. That's it. She only stole 10 grand. We're not talking millions. We're talking just a lousy 10 grand. Are you kidding? From an 83-year-old man by forging his signature as well as the signature of an Oregon state lawmaker. She's also been accused of forging around $60,000 in promissory notes. Okay, so what, $70,000 total? I mean, it's not small change, but I mean, certainly not enough to flee the freaking country. I mean, I'm not fleeing the country for anything less than, I don't know, like $5 million or something. Like a certain amount that you could disappear and never really have to be found ever again. You could just live off of it, just live a modest life. I mean, hell, you don't even need $5 million for that. You could probably get by depending on which country you end up in. Probably $1 million might do the job. All right, moving on to the next thing. Just now, Illinois State Police declare unlawful assembly outside ICE Broadview, which is in Chicago. You are required to leave. If not, you are subject to arrest and chemical agents. Music to my ears. Get the arrest going. This is on Eric Daugherty's account, so let's check this out.
Major Keltner of the Illinois State Police. This is an unlawful assembly in violation of
Illinois State Police finally showing up.
ILCS 525-1. You're required
Honestly,
to
quite
leave
surprised.
The roadway. Leave via Lexington. If you do not leave the area, you are subject to arrest. You may be subject to chemical agents, pain compliance.
It's all going out the other year. It's all going out the other year. They're all brain dead. They're brain dead. They're retarded. They are going to get arrested because they're stupid.
This is Major Keltner of the Illinois State Police. This is an unlawful assembly in violation of Illinois State Statute 720 ILCS 525-1. You're required to leave the roadway immediately.
Dude, I wouldn't even have the patience. I would have just given him one single warning. You will be arrested if you don't leave right now. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go get him. Come on, let's go arrest them all.
Compliance techniques or other reasonable force to effect your arrest.
He's probably been given the same commands for like an hour and a half now. All right, so I do have another one, I believe, on this subject. Breaking, there was a massive Illinois police presence in riot gear holding the left-wing agitators outside the ICE Broadview facility. J.B. Pritzker is weak. He didn't want the feds taking care of business, so he caved, and now state police are protecting ICE. Get ready to make arrests if any of them step out of line. I was wondering that the state police, I'm assuming that would have been J.B. Pritzker who sent them down there, which appears it was. This is 21 hours ago, so assuming this happened on Saturday, that would be my guess. Maybe Saturday morning. There's the clown world. Everybody wearing their freaking Halloween costumes. Those are a bunch of grown children. And an army of Illinois state troopers have just declared an unlawful assembly outside Broadview near Chicago. This might actually be the same. Is it going to be the same video? Yeah, it's probably going to be the same video.
This is Major Keltner of the Illinois State Police.
Yeah, same one. All right, we'll just go on to the next one. So just in, Senator John Fetterman, Democrat of Pennsylvania, quote, "I am not just representing Democrats. I refuse to call members of the other team fascists or Nazis because if you do, that implies the people that vote for them must be too. That's not true. I know and love many people who voted for the president. They aren't Nazis. I refuse to engage in those things." And it goes on with some more quotes, so let's hear what he has to say.
I mean, a lot of people forgets or doesn't understand the state that I am honored to represent. Pennsylvania, perhaps the most purple state in the country. And I am not just representing Democrats. I'm representing 13 million Pennsylvanians. And now I refuse to call members of the other team as fascists or Nazis or those other kinds of things. Because if you do, then that implies that, well, the people that vote for them must be the same as too. And that's absolutely not true. I know and love many of people that voted for the president. And they're not fascists, they're not Nazis, they're not here to destroy our democracy. Have different values and different views on what they think is the American way of life. And that's why I refuse to engage in those things. And that's why we really have to find a way forward. And after the tragedy with Charlie Kirk, people deserve to be able to grieve and the appropriate space to grieve and acknowledge the horror of what happened. And I'm not going to get in an argument or try to make points or say, well, this I disagree or whatever. It's like a father was shot in public, and now
in front of his family, by the way.
People realize the tragedy and let people grieve. And you know, Pennsylvania, that's where the president was also shot. And now I was 30 miles away and like, oh my God. And it's like, thank God he was okay. But imagine where our nation would be if that could have gone in that same way.
Oh, it would have been pretty bad.
Where
been really
would our
bad.
nation be?
Well, I appreciate so much, and I think so many Americans do.
Yeah, good for John Fetterman. It's good, man. He turned out to be a lot more based than I would have ever expected. And he just keeps going down that trail, which is good. And I mean, do you think that they're probably working on trying to primary him in the next election for his Senate seat? I would think so. I doubt the Democrats are giving him much backing these days. So Senator John Fetterman fires back at the Democrats for accusing him of bending the knee when he went to dinner with President Trump. It's not about bending a knee. It's about having a conversation with the president. We have to work together. So this continues in the same interview, of course.
I think this was in January, but before he actually took office. But I think that experience, I would use the same words that my friend Bill Maher uses, gracious, and just absolutely, it was pleasant, and it wasn't a show or anything. It was just like a conversation, and we could find things that we might agree on, and I thought it was a good conversation. And honestly, why wouldn't the senator of the state that carried him in the election, and I know plenty of people that voted too. Hey, you know, he invited, absolutely. It's not about bending a knee. It's about having a conversation with the president, and I think that's entirely appropriate. And as a senator, I'm not sure why that would anyone would find that controversial. We have to work together. That's how it works. Some terms we're in the majority. Sometimes we're in the minority. You know, that's why we all work together. That's the way democracy
compromise, negotiating. But the Democrats, they just want to burn it all down. That's all they want to do. They just want to burn it all down and rise up socialism, communism. They just want to bring everybody down to their knees. Breaking, Scott Bessent, truth nukes the fake news. It's naive for the WSJ editorial board, who I call a bunch of grumpy old men, to think that the Chinese weren't going to roll out these rare earth restrictions. They've been putting this plan together for a long time.
Well, I think it's
CNN.
naive for the Wall Street Journal editorial board, who I call a bunch of grumpy old men, to
They think that the Chinese weren't going to roll out these rare earth restrictions. They've been putting this plan together for 25, 30 years, and the U.S. has been asleep at the switch. And now this administration, we're going to go at warp speed over the next 1-2 years, and we're going to get out from under this sword that the Chinese have over us, and they have it over the whole world. And this time, we have rallied the allies, and so it is going to be all the Western democracies, the Asian democracies, and India are also going to join us in this in trying to form our own supply chains. We don't want to decouple from China, but we need to de-risk. They've shown themselves to be an unreliable partner in many areas.
Yeah, because the Chinese, they've encroached all across the third world over the last number of years with regard to mining and getting natural resources across Africa, across South America. They've ended up all over the place. And this is what we get as a result. We get the Chinese mining rare earth minerals from countries that are not even China, and then they try to put a chokehold on it and try to, I don't know, price fixing or whatever the hell that their end game is, just trying to control the flow of rare earths so we can't produce the electronics, the AI, and all the other stuff that we're working on. Anyway, update: liberals are so infuriated by President Trump's new ballroom, they've resorted to going out for Halloween in a destroyed White House costume to express their outrage. These people are brain dead. Absolutely brain dead. I would love to see him walk through the front door of a house party. I would just love to see him just run full speed right through the front door. All right. Moving on to the next thing. SNAP benefit corruption exposed. USDA Secretary Rollins calls to overhaul the EBT program as massive fraud and corruption is exposed. SNAP increased 40% under the Biden administration. 40%. 21 blue states have refused to hand over data to DOJ to ensure illegals are not getting benefits, which we all know they are. Thousands of cases of illegal use of benefits have been found. Yeah, a lot of people are selling their food stamps and all kinds of things. And also over 100 people have been arrested for SNAP fraud. Only 100? Should be in the thousands, I would think. Thousands of dead people are receiving benefits, but of course that's not new. That's what happens in Democrat states. Dead people get benefits, dead people keep voting, so on and so forth.
Day one of USDA, February 13th, is we sent letters to every governor in America being very clear that no illegal aliens can use SNAP. 0, 0, 0. We asked every state for the first time in history, and this was in February, to send us their data and let us, with DOJ and a war room, actually
if they don't
start
cut them
going
off,
through this data to better
which is probably going to have to be an act of Congress. But guess what? As Democrats like to keep saying, who controls Congress right now? The Republicans. They control the House. The Republicans have the majority in the Senate. So Republicans could do that, which I don't know why they wouldn't. But if a state refuses to release the numbers on SNAP benefits to determine if illegals are getting benefits, then cut them off. Cut off the state. Say, we're going to withhold SNAP funding from your state until you show us whether or not if you're providing funds to illegal immigrants. And even if it's proven that they are, then we're going to work with it. You're going to have to cut them off immediately in order to keep receiving your SNAP benefits. But Republicans aren't doing that.
This explosion of SNAP benefits happened under Joe Biden. We increased almost 40% on this program in just a couple of years under the Biden administration. Of course, we know they were trying to buy the election, but that's a conversation for another time. And since we have asked for that data, 29 states have complied. Of course, almost all the red states, a couple of couple blue states too. But in that data, and I haven't talked about this yet publicly, in that data we've studied about $100 billion in spend. We have found thousands and thousands of illegal use of the EBT card. We have been moving people off of SNAP. We've got almost 700,000 people, I think, we've moved off just since the president took office.
Which is why they're defunding
about
SNAP.
118 people. So
Fraud,
this has been
waste,
ongoing.
abuse.
But Rachel, to your point, what this conversation has allowed is a national spotlight on a broken and corrupt program. We found one guy in 6 different states getting a benefit. We found about 5,000 people that are dead who are still getting benefits. Like, it is time to drastically reform this program
Absolutely.
so that we can make sure that those who are truly needy, truly vulnerable, are getting what they need, and the rest of the corruption goes away, and we can serve the American taxpayer.
Yeah, and that's exactly why they reduce SNAP benefits by so much, because of discovering things like this. And it shouldn't just be for SNAP benefits. It should be for all entitlement programs that should be massively overhauled, because way too many people are getting them that have no business being on them at all. All right, Eric Doherty breaking. President Trump bodies 60 Minutes after she begs for his secret military plans if China were to invade Taiwan. This is 3 hours ago. CBS, why not say what you'll do? Trump says, well, I can't give away my secrets, which is obvious. I'm not somebody that tells you everything because you're asking me a question.
U.S. forces to defend Taiwan?
You'll find out if it happens, and he understands the answer to that.
Why not say
This
it?
never even came up yesterday as a subject. He never brought it up. People were a little surprised at that. He never brought it up because he understands it, and he understands it very well.
Do you mind if I ask, when you say he understands, why not communicate that publicly to the rest of us? What does he understand?
I don't want to give away. I can't give away my secrets. I don't want to be one of these guys that tells you exactly what's going to happen if something happens. The other side knows, but I'm not somebody that tells you everything because you're asking me a question, but they understand what's going to happen, and he has openly said, and his people have openly said at meetings, we would never do anything while President Trump is president because they know the consequences.
Absolutely. There you go. Well, yeah, dude, why would you give military secrets to the public? I mean, that's common knowledge. Not to do that. It's not a good idea. And I'm sure, like, Trump is like, well, you know, they know some things that we would do if A, B, and C were to happen. But of course, they don't know everything that we would do if they were to do something such as invading Taiwan. In breaking 911, Elon Musk says the shutdown is over Trump refusing to fund illegal immigration, saying Democrats want the funds to encourage illegal aliens who will vote for them.
The entire basis for the government shutdown is that the Trump administration correctly does not want to send massive amounts of, like, hundreds of billions of dollars to fund illegal immigrants in the blue states, or in all the states, really. And so the Democrats want to keep the money spigot going to incent illegal immigrants to come into the U.S. who will vote for them. That's the crux of the battle.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. They just want to buy their votes, and they want to make it legal for them to vote, which honestly, I'm kind of surprised that during the Biden administration that they didn't just declare every single legal immigrant, you're now here legally, you're now a permanent resident, you know, stop by whatever office to pick up your ID or whatever. I'm kind of surprised that didn't end up happening, but all right. Anyway, so breaking an infuriating development, Senator Ted Cruz just learned Democrats are plotting to reopen the government after this Tuesday's election because they wanted to juice Democrat voter turnout. Quote, Wednesday or Thursday, the Democrats will wait until after the election day because they think a shutdown is good for energizing the crazies in their party. Absolutely unbelievable. Not so sure on that. Of course, that would give the Democrats another out to reopen the government, as they could have done right after the No Kings protest. So now they're saying that Democrats are going to reopen after the election. Not so sure that's even going to be the case either, because what if Democrats lose even more seats? What if they lose even more ground after this election? I mean, would they still reopen the government? I mean, that doesn't seem like that would have solved anything at all, but let's hear what he has to say.
Before you go, will the government open this upcoming week? This is getting seriously impacting the U.S. economy. What's your take?
I think it's likely to open Wednesday or Thursday of this week. The Democrats will wait until after Election Day because they think a shutdown is good for energizing the crazies in their party. But I think it'll be either late this week or early next week.
Are you going to have to, Senator?
All right. Well, I mean, I don't exactly agree. I think they're just going to keep it shut down for as long as possible, because if they reopen the government, then their Obamacare subsidies, nothing happened with that. The healthcare premium skyrocketing, nothing happened with that. They didn't get anything out of that, which they keep saying that's the number one reason why they have the government closed, even though they're not admitting to closing the government. They're blaming Republicans. They're like, well, the Republicans control everything. They're the ones that shut down the government. So this comes from Eric Doherty. LMFAO, the Trump White House, is trolling Hakeem Jeffries right now, creating a My Safe Space profile on the official White House page, calling him Chuck E. Cheese Obama, Temu Obama, Dollar Store Obama, Sombrero Guy. He's got a sombrero and mustache again. Top friends Fenty girl. Okay. So let's see. Hakeem blurbs about me. Hey, we're Democrats in the House and Senate. We love DEI, transgender for everyone, and handing out taxpayer benefits to illegal immigrants. We couldn't care less if our men and women in uniform get paid or if our neighbors or neighborhoods are safe. We just love playing politics with people's livelihoods. His heroes, anyone who identifies as a radical leftist, transnational gangs, illegal immigrants who Hakeem would like to meet. Honestly, we couldn't meet enough members of Antifa or illegal immigrants. They're so awesome. Nickname Sombrero Guy, Timu Obama, Dollar Store Obama, Chuck E. Cheese Obama. It's hilarious. Hakeem has 8 top friends: Joe Biden, Fenty Girl, Antifa, George Soros, Chucky, Real Chucky, Maryland Dad, Tampon Tim. And so the White House, my safe space, a place for Dems. The Democrats shut it down. Mail 55, Brooklyn, New York, United States. Online now, last working day. 10/1 of 2025. Mood difficult. View my picks, videos, voting record. Hakeem is in your extended shutdown network. Yeah, that kind of brings back some memories. I'm old enough to remember MySpace. I had a MySpace back in the day. All right, so let's see. Breaking: President Trump urges the Senate Republicans to terminate the filibuster so the entire MAGA agenda can be swiftly passed. Don't be weak and stupid. We will immediately end the extortionist shutdown, get all of our agenda passed, and make life so good for Americans that these deranged... All right, you know what? I'm just going to read it. I'm just going to read it here because he's probably not texting every piece of it, but this comes from Donald J. Trump's True Social. Remember, Republicans, regardless of the Schumer shutdown, the Democrats will terminate the filibuster the first chance they get. They will pack the Supreme Court, pick up 2 states, and add at least 8 electoral votes. Their 2 objectors are gone. Don't be weak and stupid. Fight, fight, fight. Win, win, win. We will immediately end the extortionist shutdown, get all of our agenda passed, and make life so good for Americans that these deranged Democrat politicians will never again have the chance to destroy America. Republicans, you will rue the day you didn't terminate the filibuster. Be tough, be smart, and win. This is much bigger than the shutdown. This is the survival of our country. I might push back on that, and just due to the point that if Democrats are, and I'm assuming they're going to in the future, I doubt Republicans are going to be in charge forever and ever. But if Democrats get back in, and especially after the filibuster is gone, they're just going to undo literally every single thing that Trump has done in his second term. They're gonna wipe away all the tariffs. They're gonna wipe away everything with immigration. They're gonna fire all of those new ICE agents. They're gonna open the borders right back up. Like they're just gonna roll back every single thing he did. So I think getting rid of the filibuster isn't really long term going to do anything. It might help out short term with Trump's agenda during his second term, but the bigger picture, I think it's going to cause a lot more harm than good. Although if the Senate Democrats take back power, I mean, I'm not very knowledgeable as to what exactly they can do. Do they just need a simple majority to get rid of the filibuster? If that's the case, why didn't Democrats do that back during the Biden administration? Not sure why they wouldn't have done it then. All right, anyway, breaking. Scientists have announced they have carried out the first ever butt breathing trial on humans. The procedure, known as enteral ventilation, delivers oxygen through the rectum to help patients with severe lung problems. That sounds nightmarish, and that comes to mind. I mean, look, I guess if it keeps them alive and they want to remain alive, that's more power to them. But anyway, I thought I left. Yeah, see, here's a comment that I left. Sounds like a South Park episode brought to life. In my opinion, if it came to this, just let me go. Yeah, I mean, because, hoary sheet. That is an old meme, man. It's a really old meme. Why not just pump into the lungs? Yeah, I mean, probably because they have to be unconscious for that, don't they? To be on a breathing machine like that. To think we are likely funded this research. Let's see. But yeah, anyway, don't hold your breath. Yeah, right. Invented by Thomas Massey. He's always spoken out of his ass. Uh-oh. All right, and the last thing I got, the World Series. I didn't watch the World Series. I don't watch any sports at all. I used to watch the Lightning, Tampa Bay Lightning hockey fairly regularly, but yeah, it costs a lot of money if you want to watch the sports games these days that I've found, if you want to watch all of them at least. So I don't know. I've never been a sports fan, but anyway, LA Dodgers won. Let's take a look at this clip.
Here's the 0-2
like
pitch.
That won the game.
Bounces one up the middle. Bats to the back. Over the
the 11th inning.
Back titles.
That went late, man. That went past midnight, I think, Eastern. Pretty sure it did. So
Here's the 0-2.
There you have it. We beat the Blue Jays, right? Yeah, Toronto Blue Jays. So Canada can't take the win this year. Hell no. No, that's it's going to stay right here in the United States. Won the World Series, the LA Dodgers. So good for them. Happy for them. That's good they won. So anyway, that's all I got for now. I'll probably put out another video this afternoon going through the EBT nonsense with people looking to loot grocery stores and, raid grocery stores and people just complaining about the whole SNAP benefits thing that's going on right now. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching. See you later.